Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Your Delusional podcast hosted by myself, LaTerra Wair. It is 2:12 a.m. for the viewers, 2:12 a.m. for the listeners. I am trying out a new schedule this week for myself, as well as I'm working a different schedule this week. So, yeah, I'm up at 2 o'clock, and I was like, why not be productive with the time? Because my goal is to be asleep by 4, and I got home a little early. It's only 2:12, so I was like, why not just get this out? Happy spooky season. Guys, I got my nails done. Aren't they cute? For the audio listeners, they are a mix of pink and little spooky accessories. And if you don't know, my nail tech, Miss Demetria, or Meech to you, you can find her at Meech_did_my_nails on Instagram. She is located in the DFW area. Tell her I sent you. Tell her I said hello. She always does a great job. She always eats down. Anyway, hi guys. Welcome to another week. Happy spooky season. I hope that everyone is having an amazing week, a great week, all that kind of stuff. This week for me has been very interesting. Like when they say change happens and it comes at you fast, I feel like change happens and it comes at you fast. There's been a lot going on with like school for me. I feel like I've hit a rut, but I'm really in a class that I think is just not for me. And I think a part of my personality is being like, oh, I need to like excel at every single thing or every single class or whatever. And I have to take a pride hit and understand that this is not one of them classes, because I get it, but this is one of them like specialty classes, I feel like, that are important for a certain subject, and I just don't like care about that necessarily. I guess it's kind of the equivalent to like a math class, and I'm someone who like, I love math and science, right? Like, and this is just, I guess, what people talk about when they say that they don't like math classes, because this ain't for me, for real. It's a real technical problem, and yeah, it's not really my jam. I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's something that I was like, ooh, and it's kind of hard navigating through that. I feel like it's kind of taking over, because it's just like, it's something I really have to pay attention to. I guess I don't really talk about like the media side of what I do. So I do freelance multimedia creation, and I've been working for this organization, and it's been great. I love it. I'm a part of it. It's a super cool thing. And recently I got like a job promotion, so cool. And I think that this is the first time I'm really navigating kind of like freelance and freelance responsibility. So that's really interesting to see. And I'm kind of going through that, and I'm taking that on and just like making sure everything's fitting in my schedule. I've kind of been just talking lately about this time in my life is kind of the most hectic time. I think for the last like 4 years. So ever since, I feel like I'm jumping all over the place. Let me backtrack. Ever since I was 17, I've like had a job. So I got my first job when I was 17 at Panera. Fun fact about me. When I got that job, I was also playing tennis. I was in band, as well as I was doing like tech theater and stuff like that. I'm someone who's like really used to balancing multiple things at one time or whatever. And I'm not getting super overwhelmed, because I kind of like, I work at a rate of like being productive already. I don't really know how to explain that, but the way that I work, it just kind of works. I don't really get super overwhelmed, because I find a balance in my schedule pretty easily, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I did that. I finished school. I get into like college. I get to college. I have like 2 to 3 jobs at a time, and I go to college because I'm like putting myself through school and stuff, right? So then all that kind of stuff is going on. And then like about 4 years ago, I finally worked at a place that allowed me to leave all of my jobs and sustain myself. Now, I'm in a place again where I'm going to school. I'm working 2 jobs technically, And I'm also doing my own personal content creation for like a self-fulfillment type of thing. And it's something that like I really do enjoy doing. I think it's kind of my release from actually working. And I have one day that I kind of just like chill, but I think I don't want my entire life to be like I kind of just chill and do nothing every single day that I'm not working. I feel like that just gives very like on and off type of situation. And I feel like there's a certain boredom that comes for me really quickly in that, in a way. Anyway, not the point. The point is, so this is the first time in like 4 years that I'm sitting here really like doing a lot again, and it is a little overwhelming. I can't lie to you. And I think that it's overwhelming just more so in like I have to find a groove in it again. So I did 3 semesters this past like 6 months, I think 6-7 months. I did 3 semesters, and then I was off a semester, and it was a nice little break. And so then I'm just picking back up from that kind of situation. All that kind of stuff has been like changing and going on this week for me basically, but that's what my week has really been like. I haven't been doing much. I'm gonna get up in the morning and decorate for Halloween. I don't think I'm gonna be doing Vlogtober or anything like that. I'm gonna do Vlogmas, so if you are someone who just wants to stay tuned and see what's going on, that's what I'll be doing, is Vlogmas. I'm gonna do Vlogmas Monday through Friday every week of December until Christmas. I am not committing to doing weekends because I don't want to burn myself out and be sad. So yeah, I think it's very exciting, these changes that are happening. And I keep telling myself that I'm doing this to like progress myself and to progress my life. And in the grand scheme of things, it's just like a year and a half more, I think. Yeah, a year and a half more that I'm in school. So, you know, we push forward, we go, we zoom. But that has been my week. That was the longest intro I think I've ever done. That has been my week. I hope that you guys have been having a good week. Please tell me how your week is going. I look forward to hearing about it every time. Moving into the first topic. Guys, I think that lately, kind of like how I told you guys last week, I've just been very like appreciative and very like thankful, I guess is the word. Very appreciative, very thankful about life. Just about, I think that there are a lot of things that go on in life, and I think that they're very saddening, right? And I think that out of a sadness, though, you have to understand that there is happiness. Like, there's so much happiness, and without sadness, there would be no happiness. Without happiness, there'd be no sadness. All that kind of stuff. And I was thinking that something that, how do I say this? I think that something that I often get very sad about, and this is something I think about a lot, is like the thought of living without people. And when I think of that, I think of more so like older people. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I thought it'd be very fun to just kind of this spooky season talk about some kind of little like morbid things, but the crackheadish things or ways about how life just is, you know? So anyway, something that I think about often, things that they don't tell you about getting older, is like, as you get older, you really start to feel the difference in like you getting older, as well as people that are older than you getting older. You know what I mean? You really start to feel like, damn, like you really start to feel like, damn, y'all are getting older too, and you start to see it. And I think that like people tell you, you know, you're gonna miss these days and stuff like that. And I think, at least for me, I always thought that was like I'm gonna miss these days with my friends and stuff like that, because I feel like, I don't know, I just was like young, you know, and I wasn't ever thinking like what they really, really mean. Something that I wish that I knew earlier is that, how do I say this? Like, something that I wish that I knew earlier is that you really have to understand the way age gaps work. Like, I think that it's crazy. I was born into a world where my best friends are gonna be like 40 years older than me. What? Like, aside from my family, obviously, like my immediate family, I am friends with so many older people, and I think that that is so crazy. I think that it's crazy when you think about having like age gaps, but not having age gaps. So I have like younger parents in theory, and not in theory. I have younger parents, and in having younger parents, my parents also had younger parents, if that makes sense, or they have siblings, a lot of siblings. And so like my great aunt is 40 years older than I am, but she's literally one of my best friends. Isn't that crazy? And the church I attend now, I've made really good friends there, but some of them are like 30, 40 years older than me. And I'm like, that's crazy. And I kind of just think about how you make some of these really, really good memories, but also as I'm getting older and they just like tell me about like just health things and stuff, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. You like, you know, nothing bad, God willing, is gonna happen, but like, it's crazy to think that you really start to show me that you're so much older than me. And I think that no one really talks about that, or talks about like that feeling that you get when you kind of like realize that. And I'm sharing this with you guys right now, and I'm talking about this with you, and it's making me feel so much better about it. I can't lie to you. I was really nervous to get on here and talk about this because it's something that I get so uncomfortably sad about, and I'd be like, ugh, right? But I think that like, that's really the best way to explain it, is like, no one really talks to you about how when you have friends that are older and then you start to see them get older, like that is a part of friendship. That's a part of life. Like you go through stages of life and stuff like that. And it's just crazy to think about for me. To be very honest with you, it's very, very crazy to think about. Very specifically, going to church has just kind of showed me that people that make some of the biggest impacts in your life truly can be so much older than you. And I think it's like a certain wisdom that comes with age, and a certain comfort that comes with age from things that you've seen and lessons you've learned and people you know. And because of that, it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, sometimes I think of the concept. I was talking to my man about this, and we were talking about how like it's so hard to think that in life, like there is going to be, when people say they can't live life without someone, sometimes it's just like, what do you do when you don't like know life without someone, you know? And I think about that about like people who are older in my family, and I'm just like, that's so crazy. You know, you meet some of the best people in your life at the beginning. I think for me, I'm very fortunate, and that's something I've been thinking about. I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful to have met some of the best people in my life at the very beginning. It just happens we were born 40 years apart. Like, do you guys ever have those people that are so much older than you, but you're like, bro, if you were here at this time, we could have lived a whole life together for real, you know? Like, that's literally how it feels sometimes. And like my great aunt, she's definitely one of those people. I'm just like, dude, I think we could have lived a whole life together for real. I mean, God willing, we will, but like, I'm like, damn, I feel like we would have been really cool friends and stuff like that. But I really have been sitting there thinking about that lately. Like, I've really just been sitting there kind of like, that's so crazy to me to think that. And I think it's very funny how life, like, that's kind of a sick joke, you know? It's a very sick joke, but I think kind of how I was saying, you can't have good without the bad. Like, that's one of those things you have to have. You have to experience like loss to know that you love something. You have to like, it's just kind of like one of those things. It's like, I know that you love me, or I know that I love them, but like, how bad, you know? And like, not in not in a sad way necessarily, just in like a how much, like a damn, I loved him bad, like real bad. You know what I mean? And it's just really crazy to think about. That's something that I've been thinking about so much lately. Like that's something I've been thinking about so much. I'm just like, wow, I'm so grateful to have had this much time with everybody that I've had, for sure. And I keep emphasizing, I pray that nothing happens, because guys, if anything, it's kind of just taught me that like you should enjoy people. I think that if you're someone who is kind of like nervous to talk to people, because I get really nervous to talk to people that are my age and stuff like that, but I definitely recommend talking to some older people. Like older people got so much life in them to talk about if you find the right one, and you can like learn so much stuff, talk about so much stuff, and like they've really lived so many lives. Like if you guys, I don't know if you can relate, but something that I can definitely relate to is just being 26. I feel like I have lived 1,010 lives. Like I feel like there are times when I'm like, damn, like, were you that girl? That was you. You know what I mean? So it's crazy when you talk to older people and you're just kind of like, dang, bro, you've lived a life. And I love that for you. I love that for you. Also, something that's like just brought this on is kind of just the idea that like, as you get older, something I talked about last episode as well, is that you grieve living friends, right? And what I mean is when you and a person are no longer friends, or you understand that you and a person will no longer like talk or reach out or anything like that, it really does feel as if you're grieving a living like friend, and that's kind of hard. And so I think that also as you get older and you start to see people getting older, and then you're also experiencing that at the same time, it feels like pull back and forth. I don't want to have to go through this with this person because you also love that friend. You know what I mean? So I think that's just something that's been really in there. It's really been in my brain, and that's cool. That's cool. I'm not mad at it, for real. Do you guys know what I mean, or do you feel like I'm just babbling? It's okay to say you think I'm just babbling if you don't get what I'm saying, because I feel like I just explained that well, but I also am just like okay. So getting into the next thing, have you guys ever heard the phrase that you have an old soul? I feel as if I've been alive 1,000 years. You know, I say that all the time to people. I feel as if I've been alive 1,000 years. There's so many things that I don't get. I feel like I was a hippie in a past life. You know, I really don't know. And I've been told my whole life I have an old soul. I think this all stems from being raised very heavily in my early age by my grandparents and like older people in my life. I don't think you will ever understand getting to sit down with your great relative and just drink a cup of coffee in the morning at like 6, not even at like 4. You know, I love coffee to this day. It's something that brings me comfort. It's something that soothes my soul, right? And it's just a comfortable place in my heart. And I think that I do have an old spirit. I think that I have a very old kindred thing. I think I got that old romantic type of like, I love type of shit. You know what I mean? It's really, I get it when people say it. I like watching the stories. I like to go to a good sale, all that kind of stuff. That's me. That's me through and through. And I think it's because of how I was bred. To be honest, it's in me. It's not on me, right? And because of that, you know, it is what it is. I do feel like, though, basically, no one really talks about what it's like when you were kind of like raised in the early stages by your grandparents. I think that I found a lot of, confusion in getting older a little bit, because I'm just kind of like, I feel like people are really just doing a lot of stupid stuff. And I think my brain just developed a little sooner because I was seeing things a little sooner than most people. And I was like, it just doesn't work like that. Like, life just doesn't work like that. And I do think that's a byproduct of like being raised by my grandparents, and also because of my parents' situation, but like being raised by my grandparents. And so it's just like, oh, okay. Like, and I don't know. I just think that it's very, very crazy. If you're a parent, definitely like let your kids go spend time with their grandparents. Grandparents are very different people than I believe that they are with their kids. I don't know what it is, but it does bring something out of them. It just, maybe it's a eye-opening thing. You know what I mean? I don't know, to see that, but I love spending time with my grandparents. I think that I love spending time with older people. It just gives me so much more life perspective. And yeah, do you guys ever think though, like, because not a lot of the people I spend time with, like, I definitely have friends my age. Let me not say like all my friends are older people. I think I'm just saying some of my favorite people in the world are like much older than I am. And in a very platonic sense, and let me emphasize that too, very platonic sense. And I don't know, it's just kind of, it's like a weird thing, right? But when do you guys think there's a switch? Like how I have older friends, when do you think you start making like younger friends? But also sometimes that makes me think maybe I'm not their friend, like they're my friend. Y'all ever be thinking about that? I'm just going on a tangent. Anyway, can you guys tell that I usually record these when I'm just waking up? Kind of, not just waking up, but I've only been up in the morning, but now I've been up literally all day. Being raised by your grandparents is really like the best time that nobody ever talk about. That's what I personally feel like. I personally feel like it's the best time that no one ever talks about, and that's really the best time on earth, in my opinion. I think that if you can spend time with your grandparents, spend time with your grandparents. Shout out grandparents. Y'all keep the world running. I'm really happy that they gave y'all a grandparents day. Y'all ate that for real. And if you're not a good grandparent, step it up. Just thinking about grandparents and stuff, very specifically, I just reflect and I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I feel so blessed. It is a beautiful thing to get to share life with older people. I think it's crazy to think that like years ago people weren't living to be like 60 and 70, because there's so many people now that are like 90, 100, and there's so much more life and so much more contrast. And I think that's something that's so beautiful. I think that if you don't spend a lot of time talking to older people, like definitely take some time to stop and talk to some older people. They might change your life about something. They might tell you something that's so inspiring. And there's really nothing like someone who's older really showing you how much they believe in you and how much they like are inspired by what you do at your age. And that is something that is really like led to a big part of my success as a person, and I definitely recommend it to anybody. It is something that is so beautiful and so kind about someone pouring into you, and older people truly do believe in pouring into people, and that's something I think that we really do need in this generation. So if you haven't, find an older person, talk to them, just see like what life's about, what they've been doing on this floating rock all this time. There is this lady who I go to church with named Miss Karen, and I love Miss Karen down. And she posted this thing on Facebook, and she goes, "Is living in the fourth quarter with no overtime." Girl, why was I sick? I literally was like, oh my God, why would you say that? And like, but that's life, you know what I mean? Like, that's just the truth. And like, I think that her whole thing is like, you're supposed to live it. And that's something I never would have learned without, I never would have learned, but like, she kind of like just shows and demonstrates to me that like, yeah, you have to live life. You know what I mean? Like, this is one life you get, and you should be happy, and you should like live it. And like, I think that being someone who's super attached to older people, it's really hard, and no one talks about that. Like, it is very hard to get attached to older people because of an age gap. And like, you know, that's the morbid thing, that's the cruel joke, but like, it's something that's so beautiful, and it's something that's so loving, and I would tell anybody to do it. So like, sometimes it's just kind of sad to think about the reality that these people won't be here as long as you'll be here. And that's the thing that I think is hard, is like grieving the living. You're trying to live, but you're also kind of grieving at the same time, because you're like, damn, I'm gonna miss this. Like, I'm not gonna get this time back. And it's just like, it feels like it's happening so much sooner, you know? And as someone who's 20, I feel like my life is happening a lot faster, because I'm just like, I'm trying to rush so I can experience everything with these people. And it's just like, life will happen when life happens. And like, you have to understand the difference between like, you know, fearfully living, and like, you have to understand that sometimes you will have to grieve a little life, like, and it's okay. So yeah, but anywho, let's get off a different topic. Your delusional statement this week is, life only gets worse when you're older. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. I know plenty of older people who are having the best time of their life, who are living their best life. And I think that is so important. I think that you should live life to the fullest. I think that you should not be afraid to get older. There is nothing wrong with getting older. And if there's someone telling you there's something wrong with getting older, then I think that you just need to stop talking to them, because they seem just like they don't have nothing to look forward to. And I think that there's always something to look forward to, as long as you are breathing, as long as you are happy. And I hope that you're in a place where you can always make yourself happy and be happy. But but on some serious ish, I think that life really only gets better the more you live it, the more you experience it, the more experiences that you have and stuff like that, for real. So yeah, that's what I think. But what do you guys think? Do you think that life is getting better as you're getting older? Do you think it's getting like worse? Do you think you're just having like ups and downs? How do y'all feel about how your life is going as you are getting older? Personally, I feel like my life is kind of just like a lot of ups and downs, but I think that overall I can say that it is progressively getting better. I am progressively doing better. I'm on an upward spiral. So, but let me know what y'all think. Or moving forward, we are going to get into our what we watching. So since it is spooky season, I'm going to bring you guys Halloween movies all October long. And yeah, so I'm going to drop 2. My first movie is going to be the original Halloween with Michael Myers. This is one of the movies that I think contributed to my love of horror films. This is something that I will continue to watch, and if you have never seen it, you definitely should check it out. And then the next movie is going to be the original Nightmare on Elm Street. This movie has Johnny Depp in it, looking like a 90s baddie. If you have not seen it, you should. But let me know what you guys are watching down below. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you are a listener, please be sure to rate the podcast on Apple or Spotify. And if you are a viewer, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to follow more behind the scenes of the podcast, you can follow us at LT Legacy Productions, or follow my personal account at the LaTerra Wair. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye. The Your Delusional podcast is produced by LT Legacy Productions and hosted by LaTerra Wair.